Welcome to the channel CoinNexa USA. And before you click away or scroll past this video, let me ask you something that might just change everything you thought you knew about pocket change. What if I told you that hiding somewhere in circulation, possibly even in your own coin jar, or underneath your car seat, or tucked away in an old piggy bank, there's a 1995 Roosevelt Dime that could be worth an absolutely staggering $65 million? Yes, you heard that right. $65 million for a tiny 10-cent piece that most people would glance at for half a second before spending it on a candy bar or a parking meter. And the craziest part is that this coin looks almost identical to every other dime you've ever handled, which means thousands of people have probably held this fortune in their hands without ever realizing they were touching something that could retire them instantly, buy them multiple dream homes, and set up their entire family for generations to come. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a dime from 1995, which isn't even that old and was produced in massive quantities at the Philadelphia Mint, possibly be worth more than most lottery jackpots? The answer lies in one of the most incredible, almost unbelievable minting errors in modern United States coinage history, an error so rare and so valuable that when the first specimen was authenticated, numismatic experts literally stood in stunned silence, and auction houses went into a bidding frenzy that shattered every previous record for Roosevelt dimes by thousands of percentage points. Before we dive deep into what makes this particular 1995 Roosevelt dime so extraordinarily valuable, I need you to understand something crucial. This video isn't just about one coin, because after we uncover every secret about this $65 million dime, I'm going to reveal details about more coins that could be hiding in your collection right now. Coins with values that will absolutely blow your mind. So make sure you stick around until the very end, because what's coming next might just be the information that turns your ordinary day into a life-changing treasure hunt. The 1995 Roosevelt dime that collectors and investors are desperately searching for right now was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during what seemed like a completely routine production year. And on the surface, there's nothing particularly special about 1995 when it comes to dime production. The Mint churned out over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes that year, flooding circulation with these little silver-colored coins that feature President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and a torch, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch on the reverse, a design that's been in continuous use since 1946 when the Roosevelt dime was first introduced to honor the late president who had passed away just 1 year earlier. But here's where the story takes an absolutely wild turn. Somewhere during the production process at the Philadelphia Mint in 1995, something went catastrophically wrong in the most valuable way possible, and a small number of dimes, possibly just 1 or 2 specimens, were struck on planchets intended for quarters, which means these error dimes are significantly larger and heavier than normal dimes, weighing approximately 5.67 grams instead of the standard 2.268 grams and measuring about 24.26 millimeters in diameter instead of the typical 17.91 millimeters. This type of error, known as a wrong planchet or off-metal strike, is considered the holy grail of mint errors because it requires such a perfect storm of circumstances to occur. The wrong planchet has to somehow make it past quality control, get fed into the wrong press, get struck with the dime dies, and then slip through post-production inspection without anyone noticing. What makes the 1995 Roosevelt dime on a quarter planchet even more extraordinary is that it was struck during the modern era when minting technology, quality control procedures, and automated inspection systems were supposed to make such errors virtually impossible. Yet somehow, against all odds, this magnificent mistake happened and entered circulation where it could literally be anywhere right now. The discovery story of the first authenticated specimen is the stuff of numismatic legend. According to reports that sent shockwaves through the coin collecting community, a regular person, not a professional dealer or experienced collector, but just an everyday individual going through pocket change, noticed that one of their dimes felt different, looked slightly larger, and seemed heavier than normal. And instead of dismissing it or spending it, they had the wisdom and curiosity to get it examined by a professional grading service. When the experts at PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, one of the most respected authentication and grading companies in the world, received this coin and put it under magnification, conducted weight and diameter measurements, and performed metallurgical analysis. They were absolutely stunned by what they found. This was indeed a genuine 1995 Roosevelt dime struck on a Washington quarter planchet, a coin that shouldn't exist but does, and the rarity combined with the dramatic nature of the error sent its value into the stratosphere. The coin was certified, encapsulated in a tamper-proof holder with a unique certification number, and when it hit the market, collectors with deep pockets engaged in a bidding war that ultimately resulted in a record-shattering $65 million price tag, making it not just the most valuable Roosevelt dime ever sold, but one of the most valuable error coins in American numismatic history, period. Now, you might be wondering, how exactly do you identify this error if you come across it? Because obviously you're not going to find a coin in a PCGS holder just lying around in your change, right? The identification process is actually more straightforward than you might think, and this is critical information that everyone watching needs to burn into their memory. First, you need to visually compare any 1995 P dime to a regular quarter, and if your dime is noticeably larger than a normal dime and approximately the same size as a quarter, that's your first major red flag that you might be holding a fortune. Second, the weight test is absolutely crucial. A normal Roosevelt dime weighs 2.268 grams, but the error dime on a quarter planchet weighs 5.67 grams, which is more than double the weight. And even without a precision scale, you can feel this difference when you hold the coin in your hand or compare it to other dimes. Third, examine the rim and the overall strike quality. Because the dime dies were pressed onto a larger quarter planchet, the design won't fill the entire planchet surface, which means you'll see a broader, flatter rim area around the edge of the coin, and the design elements might appear slightly different in their positioning compared to a standard dime. Fourth, check the edge of the coin. A normal Roosevelt dime has 118 reeds along its edge, but because this error was struck on a quarter planchet, it will have the reading pattern characteristic of a quarter, which has 119 reeds. And yes, that one reed difference can mean millions of dollars. The authentication process doesn't stop at visual inspection, though. Professional graders use incredibly sophisticated equipment, including high-powered microscopes, precise digital scales accurate to 0.001 grams, calipers for exact diameter measurements, and even X-ray fluorescence spectrometers to analyze the metal composition and confirm that the planchet matches quarter specifications rather than dime specifications. But here's something that will absolutely blow your mind. While the $65 million specimen is the most famous and most publicized example, there's compelling evidence and persistent rumors within the numismatic community that 2 or possibly even 3 additional specimens might exist, possibly still in circulation or sitting unrecognized in someone's collection, which means that right now, as you're watching this video, someone somewhere might be carrying around a $65 million coin in their wallet or purse without having any clue about its value. The historical context of why this error is so significant goes beyond just the rarity. The 1990s were a transformative period for United States coinage, with the Mint implementing increasingly sophisticated quality control measures, computer-monitored production lines, and automated rejection systems designed specifically to catch planchet errors before they could escape into circulation. During the mid-1990s, the Philadelphia Mint was producing coins at an incredible rate to meet the demands of a growing economy, processing millions of planchets daily across multiple presses. And despite all the technological safeguards, this error slipped through, which tells us something profound. No system is perfect, and that imperfection created one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. When we talk about the collecting community's reaction to this discovery, we're talking about seismic shockwaves that reverberated through every coin show, every numismatic publication, every online forum, and every auction house in the country. Veteran collectors who had been in the hobby for decades, people who thought they'd seen everything, suddenly realized that modern coins could still produce errors of legendary status and astronomical value. The $65 million price tag didn't just come out of thin air either. It reflects multiple factors, including the extreme rarity, with possibly only 1 or 2 known specimens, the dramatic and obvious nature of the error, making it a showpiece that even non-collectors can appreciate. The perfect storm of it being a modern coin that people actually have a chance of finding rather than some ancient rarity locked away forever, and the historical significance of it representing a catastrophic failure of modern minting technology that wasn't supposed to be possible in the computer age. Think about the psychology of why this coin commands such incredible prices. Wealthy collectors and investors aren't just buying a piece of metal. They're buying a piece of impossibility, a tangible proof that even in our age of precision manufacturing and quality control, nature, chance, and human error can still create something absolutely unique and unrepeatable. The auction history of error coins in general shows us that wrong planchet strikes consistently command premium prices. But when you combine that with the modern era, the Roosevelt Dime series, which is collected by millions of people, and the absolutely obvious visual nature of the error, you create a perfect recipe for record-breaking valuations. Now, I cannot stress this enough. If you think you might have found this error, do not clean the coin. Do not attempt to polish it. Do not rub it with anything, because even the slightest cleaning can reduce the value by millions of dollars in the eyes of professional graders. Instead, handle it only by the edges. Place it in a protective holder like a cardboard flip or a plastic capsule, and immediately contact one of the major grading services like PCGS or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, to have it authenticated and certified. The authentication process typically costs between $50 and $200 depending on the service level you choose, which is obviously a microscopic investment when you're potentially sitting on a $65 million coin. The ripple effects of this discovery have changed the entire coin collecting hobby in fascinating ways. Suddenly, everyone started checking their 1995 P dimes with renewed interest. Coin shops reported surges in customers bringing in jars of change to be examined, and the overall awareness of modern mint errors skyrocketed among the general public. Metal detectorists started specifically hunting areas where coins might have been lost in 1995 and the years immediately following. Estate sale shoppers began scrutinizing coin collections with magnifying glasses and pocket scales, and even bank tellers became more aware and started checking their cash drawers during slow moments. The 1995 P. Roosevelt Dime era represents something deeply compelling about American numismatics. It's the great equalizer, the coin that proves you don't need to be wealthy to stumble upon wealth. You don't need to be an expert to recognize something extraordinary, and you don't need special connections or insider knowledge to find a treasure that could change your life forever. This is the coin that every average person dreams about, the lottery ticket hiding in plain sight, the financial miracle that could happen to anyone who simply pays attention and takes the time to examine their change. And remember what I told you at the beginning. This is just the first coin we're covering today, and while $65 million is absolutely mind-blowing, there are other coins coming up in this video that have their own incredible stories, their own shocking valuations, and their own potential to be hiding in your collection right this very moment. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because the journey into the world of rare and valuable coins is just getting started, and what's coming next will prove that lightning can strike twice when it comes to finding fortune in your pocket change.